Welcome back to Hopper's Hot Rods. And now, for the part that no one was waiting for, I'm going to read the directions on this fan controller that I got. Well, no, I can do it by myself. So, I don't know, cue the music. Here are the upper radiator mounts, such as they are. And in the words of Michelangelo, just build the mount out of scrap crap and then cut away everything that is not a radiator mount. Now we're going to make them snug without the rubber, so they'll be nice and tight with the rubber in place. And as you can see, it's got some movement, but it's not rubbing on anything, so should be fine. We'll see. I was making sure I had enough clearance for the cooling fans and stuff in here. I noticed that there was something in the way, and here's the problem. There's Mustang parts. This is a Mustang. This is supposed to be on a completely different car. Music on the time lapse. So now that we have the mounts welded, we can trim off the extra metal and coat them with a high temperature rust preventative coating that neutralizes all the hydrocarbons. Oh, we're going to spray paint them. So let's do that now. All coatings in one. All in one, says so right there. I think that's how you're supposed to do it. Here's a look at the lower radiator mount, and it's basically just a little pedestal tack welded in place on either side. Nothing special, just made sure the angle sat correctly and made it sit level. Okay, here's the Camaro fans. We've got them wired up, get the pigtails in place. This is how I'm going to route it up through there. And here's our positive and negative, so let's just try it out. And where am I going to put them? Hold on a second. Here's the wires. Now, before we stick this all in there, just to make sure we have it wired correctly, which the wires are going to neatly route up in between. Let's first make sure that we have the polarity on the plugs correct, and make sure the fans are going in the same direction, and that the direction is blowing, should be, towards you. 9-volt battery, just to make sure that everything is going the correct, and it is. There they go. Put it. Yeah, I'll probably narrate this better later, but this thing has some like hooks. It just sort of hooks on like that. So all I have to do is set this in place. The wires will neatly route that way. And because this fan is made for this radiator, it should sort of just slip right in these little slots right here. This, and that. Yep, and then this can kind of go right here. And then that one will go right there. And that's it. I mean, that's how this thing goes in. Oops, I'm not sure that was. So it's just got 4 little tabs, and that's it. That's pretty cool. Anyway, you're gonna see the little hooks. See? Pretty cool. Don't move, I got it. Okay, here's our fan controller. It's something special. I have this aversion to cooling fans being on a switch where they come on abruptly and stay on all the time, and when people wire them so when they turn the air conditioner on, they're on immediately. They could be, and in my opinion should be, connected to a pressure switch on the air conditioner, so it's only moving air when it needs to. Because if you're going down the highway at 70 miles an hour, there's not a cooling fan alive that will exceed that air movement. This controller is designed to gradually turn the fans on when the temperature requires it and maintain that temperature. Variable fan speed controller, and it does so by the ground, but there's a lot of other little wires to attach to it here, and then there's a big adjustment and a big switch. I like it. It's a big substantial box that is serviceable, and you can run big fans or multiple fans off just this box. You can mount it wherever you want. So we're gonna put it right there, right next to the radiator, where we can see it, adjust it, run our wires to it. So let's prepare this for mounting. What a mess. But we've got this thing pre-wired. It's got these nice handy little terminals. So we've got a battery constant, ignition hot, ground, which will just go to a little, ground. And then the FS is for failsafe, and it will run to a toggle switch that will ground that lug and actuate the fan thusly. All right, so this is where the fan's going to connect. We got all our little terminals temporarily done. Radiator is in. These are all our wires that are going to go to wherever they're going to go. And now we're going to ground it right here, but we're going to take a little paint off. See, not so hard. Just make sure you have a good ground. Probably another one here somewhere, yeah. All right, so this is going to go right there. Nice, nice, nice. These. All right. Well, we've got these all snugged down nice and tight, clean and tight. There's our ground. Here's our wires. Got them all nice tucked in a loom, run right across all the way over here, and they come out right here. And so now it's just a matter of terminating those, and we can test it. Now that there's a few miles on this rear end, I think it might behoove us to check the fluid with this nice cover with magnets in it and whatnot. We can A, very easily check the fluid, and B, see if there's any metal shavings in the fluid, and D, change the fluid. I'm not sure how many metal shavings are normal in a wear-in process on one of these posi rear ends, but this looks like a lot. There's a little bit at the very end of this where it's magnetized, but that wasn't one big giant clump of metal, thankfully. We're going to drain it and change it anyway with the recommended lubricant. It's not that I mind getting rear end grease on my hands, it's that it smells. It usually has an odor to it, and that kind of hangs into your skin for a while. Plus, your skin is an organ. In fact, it's your largest organ, and it can absorb stuff. It does absorb stuff. Painters that used to use solvents all the time often had liver problems because they used solvents all the time. That was very, very clean and clear looking, good stuff. But we've driven it quite a while, and we're going to change it. So good for us changing it, because any shavings that continue to float around in there just turn into sort of metal sandpaper and wear away parts of the gears and parts of the, well, I guess gears, bearings, seals, everything. So now that it's worn in a few thousand miles, I think it's just a good idea. Change the fluid, and then next time we check it, we'll see if there's any metal shavings. See, it's nice and clean. But there was some stuff on there. I start with the engine protection. I really did. I put it in here because, well, all right, because it protects the engine. You can practically taste the molybdenum. This may take a few minutes. One of my favorite parts of doing these videos is how the cameramen try to accentuate how much weight I've gained and zoom in on my second chin. They have a special chin cam that's coming out soon. That'll be exciting. We'll just let that drain in. This is the oil I use when I'm out at events, and you know, people obviously recognize me and they say, "Hey, Grasshopper, do you really use Schaefer's products?" And I say, that's a rude way to approach somebody. You don't yell, "Hey, Grasshopper," like you know me. You walk up and say, "Excuse me, if you're not busy, I got a question." And then I go, "Yes, please, go right ahead." And I'm very accommodating. And they say, "Do you use Schaefer products?" And I go, "Yeah." I say yes, because I do. And I use the 10W30 7000 in my van. They have also a 9000, and the difference between the two is 2000. I'm not really sure. I like it. It's delicious. Anyway, that's what I use. I save these because a little bit always comes back running down to the bottom. And when I have a couple of them, I combine them and I put them in my dirt bike. Small engines, just to protect them also. Just because they're small doesn't mean they don't need protecting. In fact, maybe even more so. All right. Take 22. When my fans come up to me, well, when my fan comes up to me, I have a fan. You wouldn't know him, he lives in Canada. Take 22. Take 22. People never come up to me, but if they did, they'd say, do you really use Schaefer products? And I say, I use it all over myself. Look at this. I use it in places it shouldn't go. Alonzo Mosley, FBI. Schaefer is an American company that is very proud not to sponsor Hopper's Hot Rods. It's a terrible thing to say. You know, I'm just wondering if I put the drain plug back in. You can save these containers and fill them with Christmas lights and make a decorative centerpiece for your ensemble. Charcuterie. It's a Lunchable for big people. Come on. None of this is going to be in the video. Absolutely none of it. The producers are frightened of my free-flowing, never at a loss for, because it's been sitting for a minute and we changed the filter. I leave the ignition disconnected and spin the engine over a few times to fill the oil filter with oil and pressurize all the bearings so I don't fire the engine right up with nothing protecting all those bearings. So I'm going to do that now and then we'll get it running. We have oil pressure. Now I can connect everything, fire it up, and double check. Straps. If you've got a reliable car, carry a spare tire. If you're driving one of these, carry a whole spare vehicle. Well, on the road for 57 miles or so. Temperature is staying right at 1. We better check to see if I even have trailer lights. Yeah. It's getting dark on this test drive. Gotta make sure we have trailer lights. Perfect style for a road trip. Well, here we are at the Buc-ee's. For some reason, fans are running, but the ignition is turned off. That's not shorted. I don't know what it is yet, but the whole back of the van is sort of glazed with an oily residue that I'm not sure what's going on with that. Take 22. I guess I could just bungee the headlights to the brush guard and they would be right here. But since we're not on a super tight time restraint, we'll go ahead and install them where they're supposed to be. So let's get out. Which one of these is for the left side? Take 22. We need to change the headlights. We need headlights. We're going to be on 2-lane country roads and it's kind of gotten dark. Okay, that's headlights sorted out. About 7 videos ago, or 9, or it might have been the last one. I really don't have much of a sense of time. I mentioned these cool Walmart rechargeable lights, and they're ideal. You can look, you hang it there, boom, you got yourself a work light. I'm gonna right now use the Creeper 3000 and slide under this thing and see if I can figure out what the mystery film on the back of the van is. And because I tasted it to see, you know, if I could tell what it was by the taste. And dirt, just tasted like dirt. What a mess. It looks like we shiny armor all everything. But it's the transmission lines here. And I think it's this one more than anything else, but I'm gonna tighten every clamp, see if that slows it down. But just sitting here, we got our spot here, so I know we've lost some in the past 400 or 500 miles we've been driving. The mystery stuff is transmission fluid. I found a leak, tightened it up. We'll see if that fixes it, but I definitely need to purchase some transmission fluid. We need to check the transmission fluid because some was leaking out. I'm no expert, but I'm not sure the mirror is supposed to just dangle quite like that. We'll just have to see about that whenever we get stopped. Don't know. Made it to Memphis. Yeah. It would appear the only thing holding this thing on is some electrical wires. Well, there's all that's left to do now is fix the mirror, fix the CB radio, get some air conditioning going, put new fog lights on it, you know what? That'll be for another video. Thank you for watching. See you real soon.